Hey all, welcome everyone who reads and must converse. Welcome back to the channel. I got a special guest here tonight. This is my Zelda. Say hey, Zelda. She's gonna be shy at first, but she doesn't know how it goes. And I told her that I'm getting very close to having 1,000 subscribers. So I was gonna have like a little party, and she said we can have balloons, right? So I have let you know I have the uh there's Zelda. Somebody, Scott Danielson there says Zelda is calling you out. And then hey sweet baby. Hey sweet pea. So we have the exclusive everyone who reads it must converse balloon. Okay? This is this is quality. Right? We picked these out, right?
You did.
Yep. Blue. We have blue. Boink. Pink. Boink. Purple. Teal and a yellow. So I have added something to my, you know, to my social. What I do, I don't do much. I never did any social media before I had my YouTube channel and things like that. Hey, Rainbow Sky Gay and Proud, how's it going? And J Matt reviews with J Maddox Entertainment is in the house. Zelda J Maddox says you need to review some books. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Beggy. Thank you, Mark. Hey, Lukash, Danny. Everybody's here. Very cool. And so I've added a little something to my um to what I do, just to give somebody a place to kind of support the channel if you want. And that right there is a link to a little it's called coffee. It's just it doesn't cost any money for me. It just is a place where I can accept a little a little donation or whatever you might want, because offsetting the book buying, either that, or if I do end up having some kind of value to this thing, then I'll buy a camera. You know what I mean? I'll buy a camera, I'll buy a mic, and I'll put it towards the content to create better content for sure. Because I mean, I'll accept anything you can give me. J Maddox. I'm not picky. You know what I mean? I'll say thank you and accept anything that you throw my way. That's for sure. And I accept books. If you want to hit me privately on most of my videos, my Voxer is there, things like that. And I'm more than happy to give my address for people that I know to kind of get to kind of share the love, share the book love. If there's something that you think I would enjoy, or something that you want to see me review on the channel, things like that. So there's the link. I'm gonna take it down now because we don't need that right up there in the front. But tonight I wanted to a Viking chiropractor appointment. Did you get adjusted, Lukash? Because that is some serious relaxation, I think, brother. Better watch out. Zelda's just playing with the balloons. They're fun. They're super fun. So if you send me anything on that coffee, I will send you the balloon, the official everyone who reads it must converse balloon. And I won't blow it up. I mean, of course I can't, do all that action. But I'll send you one, and I'll send you a marker. And you can have your very own, right? I mean, look at these, right? So worth it, right? Very, very much worth it. So I've been reading The Waves by Virginia Woolf. Yasmin and I, for sure. And it's been an amazing experience. Zelda's having fun over here. You can get on the screen, baby. They want to see you. So I've been reading The Waves by Virginia Woolf with Yasmin. This is very cool. We got 2 chapters left. We're getting there toward the end. It is a wild ride. I haven't seen your video yet, Lukash. Over here, baby. I haven't seen your I haven't seen your video yet, Lukash. I'm gonna wait until I'm done before I check it out, and then I will kind of figure out what kind of content I'm gonna make because of it. I don't know if I'm gonna do a video. Maybe we'll do some kind of discussion, Yasmin and I, because we've read it together, things like that. Who knows? No plans yet for the content, but I have picked up something over this last week, and it's amazing. It's an amazing book, and I don't know who I don't know who's read it and who hasn't. Hey, Mindy, nice to see you. Thanks for coming by. But it is a beast. Okay, so I'm about to show you just a complete beast. I ship balloons overseas. I ship balloons everywhere, Jay. Everywhere. Hey, Jack. Jack Rambling Raconteur is in the house as well. So I'm reading. I'm only on chapter 2 because I just started it. But this is Tragedy and Hope, A History of the World in Our Time by Carol Quigley. This thing is heavy. This thing is a complete beast. But what it is, you're killing me. Jack, you're like the funniest guy. I mean, Jack is like the funniest guy on Booktube. I'm telling you. So Zelda's killing me. These balloons are awesome. Zelda can attest to how fun they are. Am I right, Zelda? Are they fun? Yep, she's having fun. So, get on that. This book is a history of conspiracy throughout. I mean, all history, but focusing mainly on I want to say post-industrial revolution, post-World War I. That's what it is. Post-World War I, and Western culture, but not just Western, but predominantly Western conspiracy. And this person, Carol Quigley, that called this out, is somebody that has been personally thanked publicly by Clinton in his inauguration speech, and other speeches as well. So I mean, even holding it is just a beast. It's ridiculous how dense this is as far as there's glitter everywhere. Zelda just had her first strawberry of the season. How was it, baby? How was the first strawberry? Good, cool. And then we got some glitter spray for her hair. And so if you see, there's just glitter all through her hair. This is post bath. And it's gonna be here for days, I'm sure. So I'll just go through the table of contents very quickly. There's 20 chapters, but it's just information. Peg, you're here. Very cool, Peg. Nice to see you. I'm talking about a nonfiction book, Peg. Mind blow, right? But I really wanted to see if you had any experience with Tragedy and Hope by Carol Quigley. So the first chapter is Western Civilization in its World Setting. 2, Western Civilization to 1914. 3, the Russian Empire to 1917. 4, the Buffer Fringe. 5, the First World War, 1914 to 1918. Number 6, the Versailles System and the Return to Normalcy, 1919 to 1929. 7, Finance, Commercial Policy, and Business Activity, 1879 to 1947. 8, International Socialism and the Soviet Challenge. 9, Germany from Kaiser to Hitler, 1913 to 1945. 10, Britain, the Background to Appeasement, 1900 to 1939. 11, Changing Economic Patterns. 12, The Policy of Appeasement, 1931 and 1936. 13, The Disruption of Europe. 14, World War II, The Tide of Aggression, 1939 to 1941. 15, World War II, The Ebb of Aggression, 1941 to 1945. 16, The New Age. 17, Nuclear Rivalry and the Cold War, American Atomic Supremacy, 1949 to 1950. 18, Nuclear Rivalry and the Cold War, The Race for the H-Bomb, 1950 to 1957. 19, The New Era, 1957 to 1964. And then 20, Tragedy and Hope, The Future in Perspective. And now when he's talking about the future in this book was written in 1966. But contrary to what this, what the table of contents says, it's not talking about necessarily our historical happenings, economic, social, and all that kind of stuff, but talking about the power structures that are behind these things. And it is a history of conspiracy throughout the Western world. So it has been so very interesting so far. I'm like halfway through chapter 2. So I hope that I hope that you like that. There are no pictures. Sorry to say, Mark. No pictures in that one. Jesus. We need something. So I'll show a little bit of a quick haul, and then I wanted to really just get some people on if y'all are down to just get on the live with me. But I got a Norton Critical edition of Huckleberry Finn. So, hey Philip Friedenberg. Philip Friedenberg is actually the one that suggested Tragedy and Hope to me, and I couldn't help myself but just to jump right into it because it is super, super interesting. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn Norton Critical Edition, I found it at a thrift store, so I couldn't help myself, really. Oh, why not? I love the Norton Critical Editions. A lot of essays, a lot of literary criticism to jump into stuff. I tell you, they're worth it. Okay, they're worth it. Don't mess with your dad.
Oh yeah, don't mess with your daughter.
She's feisty. As if y'all didn't know already that my daughter is a feisty one. That's for sure. So one of the first kind of like police procedurals, thriller, murder, mystery books that I ever read when I was a young kid is Rules of Prey by John Sanford. So this is like the first book in the Prey series. He wrote like a whole series of books. This is the only one that I've read, and it is a crushing kind of book. At least it was to my young mind. You know what I mean? So I found this in the same thrift store, unread. So I grabbed it because the copy that I have is an old, it's the same edition, but it's an old, been read 4 or 5 times, you know, and just not going to hold up to a lot of more. You can get the custom balloons pegged. So just for anyone who missed, I have started a called a coffee, that right there, and it's just a place where you can kind of support the content a bit. I'm gonna use it for books. If I get any money through that kind of thing, I'm gonna use it for books. But if it ends up being substantial where I have a chunk of money, then I'll dump it into the channel content. I'll get, yeah, hold a book. Yeah, show them. I'll get a camera or get whatever. But if anybody contributes to the coffee link right there, I will send you a balloon and a marker so that you can have your very own. We have we have we have colors. You can tell me which color you'd like as well. Zelda says pink. I mean, I could have called that one, right? But that's her favorite one. Let's show here, Zelda. Show your favorite one. All right, you show your favorite color, and then and we'll just and I'll make sure you get it. I'll make sure it gets your way. Very cool. Well, we might be having some technical difficulties tonight. A bit. I don't know. Jay, you're too funny, brother. I'm not gonna tell you what's in the balloons, right?
Nothing.
It's just a balloon, and that's all you get. Whatever's in the balloon, that's for me to know, and for you to find out. Zelda is 7 years old and knows that cliche. Is that awesome or what? Hey, Pay, how you doing, brother? Don't be confused. Don't be confused. Zelda is here with me tonight. We're having some fun, and I'm actually going to show just a few more. Hey, Christina, nice to see you. Jay, I swear to God, man. Okay, I tell you what. How about I send the balloon out and the marker, and if you want me to authentically write it, then you bring it. You take the road trip and bring it to me, and I'll do that. Zelda is a reader. Now she doesn't love it, but I'm getting her there. You know what I mean? She doesn't love it yet. I read to her, and and that's just what it is. I read to her. I've read the latest thing that we read is Where Does the Sidewalk End? We were into that, and then we were doing some Coraline. She didn't really dig that because she had seen the movie so many times, that it just, why she was like, why, I know this whole story. So it's just something that we're working into. But she got a couple of Goosebumps books. She said she wanted me to. There we go. Oh no, you show. Oh no, you're already here. Okay,
you're the one that has them.
Okay.
You have a million.
Yep, over here. Zelda had gotten some Goosebumps book. I told her that if we went through 2 of them, there's Goosebumps Horrorland, and if we go through 2 of them and she enjoys them, then I'll buy her the series. Just whenever I see them in used bookstores, we will go ahead and pick them up. There we go. So do you have the 2 that you picked out that we're going to read first?
Yes.
Which ones? Let's show them.
We are going to read. I have one missing.
She's such a doll, I tell you. She is the light of my life. While she's finding the 5th book, she only grabbed 4 of them. I got another Robert Graves. I have a Robert Graves biography, autobiography, or a biography or autobiography. I'm not sure what the other one is, but I saw this one, and it's not the same one. This is Goodbye to All That, a Robert Graves autobiography. All right, so this is, yeah, this is the other one you want. Is this the one you want to read? The one with the mummy on it, you said?
So I want this one.
Okay.
And this one.
Okay, let's show them. We're going to read How to Kill a Monster and Who's Your Mummy? Who's Your Mummy?
I found
That's
another.
great. Yeah, so and nice. Okay, yeah, we're reading some Adventures in Bikini Bottom for sure. Zelda is a big SpongeBob fan, as am I. Emily's here. I missed it. Hey baby. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming by. I love the young kids. It's so fun, Brian, isn't it? It's just, and I mean, I have older daughters. I have my oldest is 17, Taylor, and then Fiona is 13, and so I totally remember them being this age, and I'm just really taking my time and enjoying them being their age that they are. Yeah, I'm sure, Jay. You're funny, dude. Y'all are great. I'm trying to really just, make this time last with my Zelda, for sure. So why I had to grab this for sure is, wow. Scott says How to Kill a Monster is the best of all of them. This one, the one you said you wanted to read.
This one was the best. That's the scariest, of course.
How to Kill a Monster. That's right. Very cool. Very cool. Yes, I can. So, what this is the disillusionment. What it seems to be about is the disillusionment, the loss of innocence of humanity, like, of at least the Western world, when World War I broke out, when World War I happened. It was a huge hit to people. Mommy is in the chat. Mommy said hi.
Hi.
Hey, Mommy. So, Amy from the bookshelf, from the Dusty Bookshelf. Hey, Amy, thanks for coming by. So, it was wild because I'm reading about this time period in Tragedy and Hope, talking about the social changes through time. The first couple of chapters are all about different social changes in time, and then I hit the thrift store and I saw this, and it's about the huge, like, existential upheaval, kind of thing. Just the shift in mind state that people had to go through from a first person account. Robert Graves, going through it, and Paul Fussell does the introduction. So I'm gonna check it out. It just seemed really pertinent to where I'm at right now and what is going on. So very cool. All right, and also I got some. No, I don't need all these balloons. I'm not doing it. We don't need to blow up every balloon. We got enough. I mean, you can blow them up if you want. You can.
You're the one that blew all of these.
I blew up enough balloons already.
I blew 2 purple ones up. You should blow one.
We know who runs the show around here, right? So, I don't know Gertrude Stein, but I came into these very quickly with looking through. Where was I? It was a thrift store, but I don't know which one. I can't remember. It was earlier in the week, and I got 3 lives. 3 lives by Gertrude Stein, and then selected writings. So I'm thinking that this will be a pretty cool little you know, survey of her work, maybe just parts of certain things, a way to work into Gertrude Stein's work. And I have no idea of what she's about or anything like that. So I said, let's do it. The only other thing I'm reading other than the waves is at times I am picking up and slowly, because it is something to think about and to go through a lot. Jack. Stop, Jack. Stop, Jack. I'm picking up Tom at Tom LA Books, his Science and Faith, and I'm on the third section of this graphic novel. And this graphic novel is basically just the graphic novel medium to tell a story or to explore ideas. So it's good exploration, especially for to start a dialogue. So I'm enjoying it, and let's do it. So I was thinking tonight, let's see, 1 second. This is what I meant when I said technical difficulties, right? Okay, but we're straight now. And I was thinking that tonight I would just invite everyone to jump on, if you want to jump on, and I'll add you to the stream and we can talk and hang out and play a bit, right? So there's the link. Does that link work? We'll see if that link works. I don't know. Is it going all right? Tom did not do the illustrations of Science and Faith. He did not do the illustrations. So I don't know. Let's see who did do the illustrations. Alexandria Fastoves is who it is. Alexandria Fastoves. That's who did the illustrations for this book. And it seems really, really cool. For sure. So, if anybody is down to jump on and do the live and just talk, let's do this. So we have our first. We have well, they were here, but then they were here and now they're not anymore. Eek! Zelda does know a whole nother language. It's Zelda language. A whole nother language.
Wow. Okay, that works. Can you hear me?
I can. You got to turn everything else down now.
Can you hear me? Hold on.
I can. You got to turn everything else down now.
Okay. Hold on.
Hey, Mark.
There we go.
Mark Richardson at Richardson Reads.
All right. Is that better?
Yes, sir. Scott Danielson.
All
Bookish
right.
Science. Becky. Scott in the house. So see, Zelda, these are some friends from the Booktube, and Zelda was wondering if she was going to be able to see anybody or know if what anybody was saying. And I said, well, yeah, at some point we're gonna kind of open it up. So how is everybody?
Good.
Happy Friday.
Yeah,
Doing well, thanks.
Oh my God. See the 7-year-old, the 7-year-old language is what that is. Peg says, look at this party. That's for sure. So, three quarters of the people on screen have just read Stephen King's 11/22/63 together. Have you ever read that, Mark?
I have not.
it was really, really fun. Let me tell you.
Go.
We're actually going to be doing a live on it tomorrow on our channel.
That's right. Scott Danielson and we're gonna jump over on the Bookish Bryant's channel tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And we will have some fun just kind of jumping into that one. It lends itself to a lot of conversation. Let me tell you.
That's for sure.
Have you? I was wondering if you had ever heard of that,
no
Tragedy
question.
and Hope, Richardson.
Really good.
What's that?
I was wondering if you have ever heard of Tragedy and Hope and ever come in contact with that book.
I've never seen it.
Nice.
It was interesting.
Very cool. Yeah, it's super interesting. And I mean, from what I'm in right now, it's just kind of more historical and social, political, economic, like the ways that things have changed through time periods. But that's just the first, giving some context for what he's about to go into, I'm sure.
When you were reading the chapters, I realized that by about 14, I was alive.
I was born in 81, and I feel like I'm still I feel like I'm still 20 years old. You know what I mean? I still operate and live my life like I'm in my 20s. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny though? The older I get, the older the things are that I read. You know, like I'm now 45 years old, and I'm going back to ancient history now, and I'm going to books about World War II, World War I, things like that, things that I never read before, and until I got into my 40s. So, I guess I don't know how common that is, but that's just the way it's been for me.
Which means
Yeah.
by the time you hit 60 years old, you're going to be reading Beowulf.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm over 50 now, so I decided to start over with Gilgamesh. I just read Gilgamesh, and now I'm just going to go forward from there.
Right.
Ancient cuneiform, correct?
Sorry, I couldn't hear that.
The original cuneiform? Or?
That's right. Yep, in the original cuneiform, right.
Yeah, he'll be reading the Sumerian tablets in the original.
Yeah. But I definitely hear you, Scott. I am going through a period now where I don't read a lot of recent things for sure.
Yeah,
I
I don't
am
either.
looking at a lot of older stuff.
Yeah, the last recent thing I bought was that Ted Chiang book that
Yeah.
I saw on your channel.
Mm-hmm. That's a terrific book. Stories of Your Life and Others is that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's terrific short stories. I'm gonna read Exhalation soon.
Yeah.
Those
books are so good.
I had picked up a hardcover from that. Yasmin to the Lit House just can't stop talking about how great that one is too.
Oh, so cool.
Ted Chiang is just a master of sci-fi.
Yeah, he's right above all of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
philosophical science fiction. It's really terrific.
Yeah, and that's my jam. I have a playlist that's just titled Philosophical Sci-Fi, just so I can dump videos into that whenever I feel like.
Yeah,
but I tell you, I'm really happy that you wanted to come on tonight, Mark, because Mark Richardson is a representation of somebody who has been on Booktube since before I started my channel, and that I used to watch, and that I had so much I was like, this is cool. This is somebody a real reader out there, not somebody that's just like talking about whatever the newest book is and some crap that I'm not gonna read. He's talking about stuff that is interesting to him and vast, with the amount of stuff. And when I started watching you were doing a bookshelf tour, which was awesome. And I don't think you ever finished it, right?
Long time ago.
Yeah. You are so fun. Zelda's gonna show some books while we just talk. You can show them up and hold them. She's gonna show some canceled authors. She's gonna get controversial. She's gonna get controversial tonight. See, I can't help it. I can't, they drag me into it.
I do. I loved that book when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Controversial authors.
My favorite.
So, actually, Mark, you were one of the first people that commented on my first video as well. And that was January of 2020 when I jumped into a tag called my favorite authors tag. And it took me so long to try to figure out that list. But it was so fun to do. And then I did it. And that video was just so cool. And the community totally embraced me after that. It was just right off the bat. So I had an amazing start to my Booktube experience because of.
Oh, that's a good.
There it is.
Terrific book, that.
Oh yeah.
He says block that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she knows. She's like it's so cool.
Anytime Scott and I do a book haul, I do my very best to cover his face.
Yeah, she don't care. She like I said, we know who runs the show. When Zelda's around me, Zelda tells me what we're up to and what we're gonna do. That's for sure.
But yeah, Mark.
That's where we were. And then she's showing our place. We were reading Me and My Giant.
Nice.
That's where our little bookmark was.
Yeah.
Good
Whenever I see that book, it reminds me of The Phantom Toll Booth, which I must have read at the same time. You guys remember that book?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I actually saw a record in the record store with Shel Silverstein. I don't know what kind of music he did back in the day or something like that. Folk.
He wrote the unicorn song.
What is that? What unicorn song?
From The Last Unicorn.
No,
You got to sing it, Becky.
Oh.
If you call it out, you got to sing it.
No, a long time ago when the earth was green, there were more types of animals than you've ever seen. They'd run around and play while the earth was being born, but the loveliest of all was the unicorn.
Nice.
Mark knows it. Yeah,
Well,
awesome. I don't think I've heard it.
Thank you for that.
Mhm.
It's an old one, but it's actually supposedly a sort of a take on the British and I think it's the English and the Irish. But that's a whole different can of worms. That's what we'll go into.
All right, so Zelda is now wanting to share the favorite book that she has.
All
Go
right.
ahead, take it away.
Olivia. That looks great.
This
I have
is
not
one
read
where,
that one.
yeah, Olivia switches places with a princess who looks just like her. They're both little pigs,
I've heard of that book.
and it's a pop-up. It's a pop-up book, and she goes and lives the princess life, and the princess goes and lives her, her style life, like a middle-class family or something, and they both love it, and they both have a great day. Okay. Heck yeah. Oh no. You want to get it for me? Thank you, baby.
Mhm.
My sweet girl.
Where is it?
Over there by the lamp. Thank you. Good job.
And
Yeah, so the kind of place where we're at. I mean, how long? I mean, Mark, you're already over 1,000 subs. I can't believe I'm hitting a landmark like that when it comes down to it. I'm like, especially just talking about. I talk about stuff that people actively say they don't like sometimes. You know what I mean? People leave comments on my videos and say, yeah, I'm never gonna read what you're talking about, or like, hey, that sounds a bit heavy for me, and they're done. You know what I mean? So I'm like, that's the kind of reader that I am. But the Booktube community is vast. There is so many different readers, and no matter what kind of reader you are, there's a whole lot of people that read what you read and
Mhm.
want to hear you talk about it and all that kind of stuff. It's amazing, this community. And I had no idea. So I wanted to ask if you had any insights to that, being a booktuber for so long.
Well, for me, what's really, because I'm just about to, myself, and if you know Paperback Junkie, you usually come on with a group. There's usually a few of you that came on. I think what's really shocking to me a lot is that it started, but no longer around.
Hmm. Yeah, folks come and go pretty quick, huh?
I've seen already in just my first year, some people coming and going and that kind of thing, for sure. And that's fine. I mean, some people do it as an outlet. Some people do it just because they're bored and they just want to do something and there's no commitment to it at all. They're just doing something or putting something out there. And then some people, I mean, like me, I mean, I went into it like, okay, well, if I'm gonna do this, I'm going to try to be real consistent with content, put stuff out there on a regular basis, and actually, and actually, not focus on hobbies of mine that aren't productive for me, but just like, I'm a hobby guy, So there's a lot of hobbies that I use to kind of fill my time, and yeah, playing chess is good and playing guitar is good, things like that. But I kind of felt like this would be something that would, kind of expand me a bit. And it already has, in the way that I can talk about books and things like that. So I'm just super happy about it. And I don't kind of fault people, especially for in and out of it, or because everybody has their different outlook on like what this is to them, you know what I mean, and like why they do it. But Paperback Junkie having his time off and being like an in and out a bit, but he still has a lot of subs too, and people that are just kind of committed to following you and stuff. So it's just, is it something that just like, is it a testament to that, there's a huge reading community still? Most people would say that nobody reads. Reading is dead. People don't read books, that kind of thing. But there is,
Well,
it's just,
that was true.
what's that?
We're having trouble understanding you, Mark. We get about every third or fourth word.
Okay.
There was something that the room note said that's actually really, really important. It's because this corner of Booktube watches the person as much as the books, and I think it's very true.
There definitely is a lot of that.
It's like what you were saying earlier, Noah, about Paperback Junkie. Matt's hysterical.
Matt and his wife are funny.
They are hilarious. Even if you don't read what they read, they're loads of fun to watch. And every single person in this group, we love their videos as much as we love as much or more as what they read.
Right. Yeah. A lot of it is that kind of thing too. There's quite a few people that I watch that I don't necessarily get suggestions from, but I just enjoy their manner, their way of talking about books, their way of just, or they're just funny. You know what I mean? They're just fun people, and that's it. And that they love books. That's why they're part of the community that I follow, and part of my subscribers
Mm-hmm.
are my people that I subscribe to,
Mhm.
and so it's just cool. One that I found, I forget the name now. It's like her own name. I found one today, or not today, but like day before yesterday. She's hilarious. It is Anna Wallace Johnson. Do any of y'all follow her?
That name, I probably think I've seen some of her videos.
I'm gonna write it in the chat because she is hilarious. She is in New York and she does primarily vlog style, but it's not like it's not like Amy's vlogs. It's not like some aesthetically pleasing. I mean, there are aesthetics to it, but she's really real, and she's a real New York girl, a New York chick,
Yeah.
And
I come from the podcasting world, right, which is audio only, and that's something that is attractive here that you don't have there is the community.
Right.
You have listeners that sometimes comment on a podcast, but they actually have to go to your website, and actually make a huge effort to do that. But this stuff is Booktube is a completely different thing, and I really loved it. But it is the people that you're here for. That's what I'm here for anyway. I enjoy the people a lot.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, we do too. One of the things that I've really started doing as I've been watching Booktube is picking up a lot of suggestions in a lot of different areas.
Mm.
So I've kind of gone to the area that I believe I want to read a little of everything and try some of everything. And Booktube has really helped me along in that journey. Like the spiritual thing. I was a spiritual seeker for many years, and now that I think I'm finished with that, at least for now.
Oh my God!
I want to be a literary seeker.
That's what you needed to do. See, I on StreamYard, I have to scroll down to see other people were there.
Oh, cool.
I'm so sorry, Brian and Danny.
All right.
Nice to see y'all.
Hey.
Thanks for coming on.
All right.
No worries.
That was the right.
Oh, we
move.
lost Danny.
Oh no.
Oh no, Danny! It's all good. She'll be back if she really wants in. She'll be back. How are y'all? How are you doing, Brian?
I'm good, thanks. I didn't want to miss out on the opportunity to get in on this thing. So testing out new technology.
What thing? This thing?
That thing. That
You
balloon
want some
thing.
of this hot balloon action?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll trade you one fishing show T-shirt for like 6 balloons.
You got it. I love your tag blitz, Brian. You're killing me.
Keep your eyes open for Danny. Hey Noah, keep your eyes open for Danny coming in.
I will. I have it scrolled down to the bottom now so I can see. I'm an idiot.
I did all those tags this week. I got tagged 3 more times this week. So
I saw another poll. You know what I clicked? 1 video a day. I want to see you do 1 video a day, sir.
no. Next time it's going to be all of them at once. Hey, Faye.
I don't want to see all of them at once. I don't want to make it that easy on you.
That's why I'm going to do it that way.
Oh man.
Very cool.
Too funny.
So, Brian, how long have you been on Booktube?
Not as long as Mark. About 2.5, maybe almost 3 years now.
Nice. Cool. So were
Yes,
you
Christy.
a new 900 line hot balloon action? Thank you, Meg.
There is a
Very
mental
cool.
image I did not need.
What?
Hot balloon action.
Oh,
Pax Americana says, "I love the different degrees of shelf flexing in the backgrounds." Danny in the house.
There's Danny.
What's up, Danny?
I'm trying to help Brian and Scott and I get in. I'm trying to go back and
my thing so I had to come back over here. I can't see any of the chat. I'm so upset.
I want to say, hey, this is my friend Danny. She has a channel, her own channel called Spinelli Speaks. Brian, he's at Bookish.
Zelda.
Mark, Scott, and Becky. That's the husband and wife.
We met you, Zelda.
They were the ones we saw at the Second and Charles that day. And Scott,
I wanted to name my daughter Zelda, but my wife wouldn't let me.
So you know what he named Zelda instead? His dog. He did. He's got a dog named Zelda.
Well, someone else had a cat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nice.
We have a dog named Link. It's going around, I think.
Nice. Zelda has a cousin named Link. I have a brother that has a boy named Link. So we have a Link and a Zelda in our family.
I love it.
That's really cool.
Mhm.
But Brian's Zelda is Zelda Fitzgerald. Am I right?
Yes.
That's right.
I knew she was going to be a drama queen. So
I tell you, these balloons, they really set it off. Okay. I'm done plugging the balloons, but I'm just saying they're awesome.
You say stop. Oh, stop already.
Feisty girl, I tell you. So
They're cup balloons, apparently.
this is a wonderful group. You guys are perfect representative of why I love Booktube and why my first year and more has been such an amazing experience. And I mean, I had no idea that it was the kind of community. You know, I probably only knew 10 maybe real booktubers when I started my channel. And by real, I mean like real readers that don't just go for, you know, your popular. I mean, I don't watch YA channels. You know what I mean? I can't, because I read adult stuff. I can't. If I start following somebody who reads YA stuff, and like every single time they start talking about a book, it's like, okay, well, here's the trigger warnings for this book. I'm like, what book have I ever read where there's not a morally gray character? You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I read adult books. They're not, you know, I mean, there's trigger warnings for every book that I read because it's adult fiction. So
No, that's a really interesting point. So I just read a YA fantasy, and I read YA very rarely, but I read this one because it was really popular. It was Roseanne Brown's Song of Race and Ruin. And it was really good. But in the very beginning of the book, there was this little section that said trigger warnings. And I was like, I've never seen this in a book before. And I read it because I am a booktuber, and that's what we do. We make sure we look at everything. And then I read the book, and I was like, you really didn't need that. Like, none of those really were that big of a deal. Like, they had some self-harm trigger warning in there, and I was like, that I would have missed it. It went right over my head. Like, I didn't even notice that was in there, other than the fact that he had a rubber band to not think about that. That was it. That was the trigger warning. And I was like, wait until you start reading real books. Like, like, whoo, okay.
I wonder how much of that is sort of attention getting for a young adult novel.
I'm not sure. The book was great. I loved it. It has a lot of like folklore, and it's so different than what I'm used to. And the romance level was super low, which is great because like young adult gets way too mushy for me, like in an immature way, and I don't like that. I thought it was excellent, but that trigger warning thing, the whole time I was reading it, I was like, and fantasy violence was a trigger warning, and I was like, but that means it's fake.
Right.
So it's weird, but I thought it was great.
These cowboy romances are getting a little too mushy.
I knew you'd like the cowboy romance.
There we go.
You know, I followed, and I mean, I still follow her. I don't unsub to people unless unless I just really for a while am not watching any of their stuff. I don't really unsub. But there was one booktuber, pretty popular. I'm not gonna call it out, but it was that kind of thing. And what was the straw that broke the camel's back was a trigger warning about peer pressure. And I was like, what? Right now? Like every single person is going to go through that, and you need to be okay with that is a normal human thing that everybody goes through. There's not a trigger warning for something that is a natural stage or something that everybody comes in contact with at some kind of point and figure out how they're and doesn't know how to deal with that and is like, what, I just see it that way.
I understand trigger warnings for like life-changing events like rape and
yeah,
things
if it's hardcore
PTSD.
stuff, then sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like PTSD and the victims, but peer pressure. that one seems kind of hinky to me.
Gore Vidal, they do audiobooks, bro, and they just put it on 2 times speed. That's how they do that. That's how they go through Anna Karenina in a week.
We need a Norman Mailer.
Right.
We got Gore Vidal. We need Norman Mailer. They can have a fist fight in the chat.
Yes.
Now,
You could be Dick Cavett.
Talk about trigger warnings, though.
Well, and I think about the books that every generation has this wave of what is newly politically correct and what is allowed in schools and all these things. But when I was in 8th grade, we were reading Lord of the Flies and The Giver and all of these things that had these trigger warnings, and we were talking about them. Now they're like, oh, we can't have those in school. You gotta talk about that with your kids at home.
Right. Well, and I mean, things like To Kill a Mockingbird. I mean, there's a woman that is dying and being read to by one of the kids, being read to by a kid while she's dying, taking morphine to ease the pain of her death. It's very, very hardcore. Just that, and that's a side story in there, but it's just, as something that we didn't have that kind of same thing. And Pax Americana says something really cool about this, that no judgment on trigger warnings, but it's just a part of the discourse of YA reading, and not just YA reading, but wider reading as well. That that's part of the way of talking about books, is you talk about that aspect of it in that way. It's just something like that. I think what we're trying to say, those that have shared, that it's just something that's kind of alien to the way that we approach books. It is for me. It's an alien way to approach books for me, to think about what trigger warnings are in the book, because I'm set for the author to kind of throw me into something that I'm not expecting or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I said, go ahead.
I needed trigger warnings for the red pony and where the red fern grows and Old Yeller. That red pony thing, that messed me up for years.
Of Mice and Men.
Do you remember in
That was
Red
just Lenny.
Pony? So in Red Pony, I read that sign back when I was in 6th grade.
Yes.
And do you know that every single time I crack an egg open, I am looking for the vein of blood, because I have never gotten that out of my head.
Oh my
That is
God.
the only thing I remember about Red Pony, is that there is this crazy egg scene. And then, where the red fern grows, I sobbed. And I didn't even own a dog, and I just sobbed.
Yeah.
I was like, you're killing me.
Well, I remember, I think it was my 6th grade or 5th grade teacher read that out loud to us, where the red fern grows over time.
Oh.
Yeah. So I mean, we experienced that as a group.
They made us do it twice. We had to read it and then we had to watch the movie.
Mm.
No,
Oh.
double
I read
whammy.
that book.
Oh
I read
yeah.
that book when I was very young, and I'm still traumatized.
Yeah.
That
But
and
see-
Old
but see-
Yeller.
Yeah.
But
Man,
see,
why are you telling
those-
us all these stories about dead dogs?
Dead dog stories. No.
No more of that.
No more dead dog stories.
And see, everybody has their own, their own things like that. Of course, like something that really gets you. But when it comes down to it, those things that have reached, those stories that have reached down deep into us and ripped our hearts out, are things that we love about literature, and something that we see the power of a story in that. We see the power of fiction. We see the power of a story. And, we might not want a certain kind of thing, a specific thing again, because it's not our thing or something like that. But we do want that power of a story to like hit us where we're not expecting something very, very, primal, visceral, something like that, and just make us emotionally involved.
Can you imagine if Stephen King started doing trigger warnings? They'd be 14 pages long at the beginning of
Right.
the book.
I mean, for Against the Day, Thomas Pynchon, if there was trigger warnings for that, it would be its own novella. It's ridiculous. It's
I
ridiculous.
want to know why the China Mieville book didn't have trigger warnings.
Oh my God. I mean, that book was so dark.
Oh yeah.
What was the name of that book? Something Perdido Street Station.
Yeah. It was so dark and so good. I love
Oh, yeah.
Perdido Street Station.
Well,
Yeah,
and I
that's
think if anybody's watching this right now or watching it in replay, please don't feel like we're trying to diss YA novels by any means. The trigger warning thing is purely meant, I think, for that transition, because they're going from childhood reading into more adult reading, so it is starting to like escalate into those themes. And as adult, because obviously we've all been around the block a few times here, some of us have read very high fiction
Everybody except
through
for
education.
Brian.
So we're used to that. We're used to these books, and we're used to dissecting these books, and we're used to having to really rail in on these themes. So we're by no means trying to diss the YA population, because it is a huge chunk of Booktube. I wish it was a smaller chunk, but it is a huge chunk. So we're not trying to diss YA. I do read it from time to time, but the trigger warning thing is a little bit redundant, I feel, in some respects. That's all. We're not dissing it. We're just saying, like, ease up on it a little bit.
Yeah. No, when I'm talking about trigger warnings, I'm not talking about young adult novels at all. I don't read young adults, but I've seen a lot of trigger warnings in things meant for fully grown adults. And again, I understand if it's things that are really, really violent and things that are life changing. But again, peer pressure. What?
Right.
Those are great dog stories. I like those. Gore Vidal. Yep.
Yeah. So Danny's using the term "we" in that very,
yeah.
Because I personally have no room for watching or no desire to see or hear an adult, like a 30-year-old or like a full-on adult talking about YA novels at all. You know what I mean? It's just that kind of thing where I'm like, really, read an adult book. You're an adult. You have to get there. Like we are meant to grow and be. You can't go from late teens, early 20s to 50 in your maturity and in your mind. You have to go. Are you there, Brian? I mean, look, like I said, I live like I'm 20, man. But
I skipped all the middle years.
But in my mind, in my life, I mean, I feel like that there is progression and experience, and you're not the same as you were when you were 20 inside and in your mind, how you experience the world when you're 30, when you're 40, when you're 50. You know, they're all different. We change over and over and over. 60.
Yeah, I'm feeling every second of my 38 years. So
We're all, you know, I feel like it's all different, and it all should be, you know, it should be what it is, you know, and everybody's different in the way that they change and the way that they grow, for sure. I'm not trying to take anything away from anybody, but there is something to be said about being stuck in a place and unwilling to you know, grow and to move on and to like kind of mature. We're here, you know, at some point you have to mature, and then you have to, you know, apply things that you've learned and stuff like that. So that's just the kind of way that I see.
So what you're saying is we're going to do a James Joyce Ulysses read along.
Hey, that's been done.
We attempted it. We attempted it, but we didn't finish it. I'll reboot it.
Christy Lewis, you have to invite me to that Voxer.
Vox me about it, Christy. I got nothing to say about it. I've never read Twilight. I'm not gonna read Twilight. I mean, like, why would I do that?
Hey, I did read Twilight, so nobody could tell me I didn't. And it was okay. pretty much so I could give my honest opinion on it, and it was not a very high opinion either. But I did read it.
He so enjoys giving his opinion on those books.
Yeah, I read Twilight when it all first started coming out, because that was what age I was. I was a young adult as it was coming out. So when Midnight Sun came out recently, I was like, I'm over it. That happened when I was a young adult, and I'm past that point. And I have no desire to read that. And a lot of people my age did, because it was like we grew up with that, and it was like, yes. And I was like, no, I'm good.
I think YA authors are kind of like boy bands. They're like every generation has their own, and then they try to come back like 10 years later, and everybody's like, I don't like that anymore. You know,
right.
You're ruining what it was in the past. And so,
yes.
you know, In Excess or whatever, In Sync, One Direction, Hanson, whatever the hell it is, you know, it just kind of cycles through. So, but I think there's probably going to be a great YA novel written sometime. I mean, it has to be a possibility that there can be an actual excellent YA novel. I just believe any genre can produce real literature, whether it's no matter what it is, except maybe, I don't know, business self-help. But anyway, they can all produce a great novel, but I'm just not sure that novel is going to get published because of all the other like really similar YA novels that seem to come out. And I don't mind dissing YA a little bit, because they treat, you know, what we read the same way we're talking about YA. So I figure it's fair.
Right. I think everyone does. I think everyone likes to pick if it's not their thing, you know.
Yeah, there are some wonderfully literary children's books. I don't know why YA couldn't do it.
That's a great point, Brian. I just recently, I don't know who it is. It's somebody that I sub to that I don't really follow, but it was like a video about whether or not YA vampire romances are coming back or not. And I was like, okay, I'm not watching that.
I feel like that ship has sailed. Like that was hit hard and heavy for like 10 or 12 years. Like, let's just move on. We're done.
I think we need to go to mummies now. They did vampires and zombies.
Mummy romance?
Mummies. That's what we need.
You've unraveled my heart.
There you go. See?
All right.
You could literally give someone your heart because it's in a box somewhere.
That's hilarious.
So true. Yeah.
You guys are great. See, when we were young, somebody said, who said? Pax Americana said that they skipped YA novels. They just went straight to, you know, from their school reading to adult, you know, reading. But there was no YA when I was
No, there really wasn't.
You know what I mean?
You know, when I
What-
was that's the same thing I did. You know, it was like some Heinlein juveniles to Stephen King. You know,
Right.
it was
That's
just
exactly what I did.
there wasn't really anything in between that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Amy from the Dusty Bookshelf says that.
Mhm.
I was on Stephen King at 12 years old. So,
Yeah.
yep.
I mean, and Amy's like, I don't know how old Amy is, but she looks like she's all of 21 years old. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I saw her drinking in a bar on an Instagram. So I assume she's at least 21. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, I've never had any kind of idea about what, you know, a YA novel. I mean, we're reading the Dragonlance Chronicles. If y'all didn't know that, I'm reading the Dragonlance Chronicles in June, July, and August, doing one a month with a group. She Was Only Evie wrote me into that one, but I'm happy to say I'm going to do it. But I was reading this when I was in my early teens, 13.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And then I read the Dark Elf trilogy after that. That was my fantasy. This stuff is not. There's no romance. I mean, there's romance, there's relationships, but that's not the focus. It's action, it's plot, it's characters. You know what I mean? And it's not. So I mean, you know, but there wasn't any kind of like genre for YA. For me, you know what I mean?
I'd have been endlessly happy if they had left the romance out of those books. I'm still mad about that.
Y'all are funny. Y'all are super funny. Oh, Amy, you don't have to tell me and destroy all of my, you know. I like the mystery. She's 26.
I'll tell you what.
Well,
though,
you look like you're 19. So
for 26, for 26.
she
Amy
says the
reads some
drinking
big
age
stuff.
is 19 in Canada. That's amazing.
But yeah, for 26 years old, Amy reads some big stuff. That's for sure.
Right. All right. So Brian's back. I'll put him back in. I saw you this time, Brian.
Sorry, my battery
Welcome
died.
back, Brian.
But then also, you know, I read Dante's Inferno in high school. So like when it comes down to it, this kind of thing of getting into YA novels or getting into that genre, it's just like how anybody gets into any genre. You know what I mean? And so there's just people who get into all kinds of genres, and I don't want to like necessarily nail. It's not like nailing the person, the people, but it is something that is kind of mind blowing to me in some ways, especially when there's so much good literature out there and amazing stories. And actually, Brian, I did just order that book that you suggested. Is it
Twilight?
Nupamine? Nupamine or Nupamine? Yes. I think you're gonna like it. I really do.
Yeah, you
really
turned me on to
it. Seemed like a Noah book.
Cool. And then you were talking about it in a couple of your videos and stuff, and I was like, man, this guy can't say enough about this book, really. So
yep,
that's a testament to it. You know what I mean? If somebody's really just raving about it, but then it doesn't even get it out of their system, and they have to, say some more and like that kind of thing, I'm like, okay.
Oh man,
I really
Brian,
did just pick it. I reread it immediately after finishing it the first time.
Nice.
That's how much I liked it.
Nice.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no one never reads books, I suggest. I don't know why.
I read too broadly. I'm all over the place when I read. So I'm reading a classic, then I'm reading a literary or contemporary. I'm too all over the place to even. It's hard for me to like recommend books to people because I am so all over the place. Like right now on my nightstand, I mean, I've got East of Eden. I've got a Pink Carnation series. I've got Fried Green Tomatoes, Little Paris Bookshop, and Once Upon a River. I mean, it's like from this side of the spectrum to the other.
Yep.
That Gore Vidal just put a quote up there, and I'm not sure I agree with that quote. Yeah, I went through a period where I read a bunch of YA because my kids were into it, and I liked to read some of what they read anyway. They're both in their 20s now, but it's like, Hunger Games is not a happy story.
No.
Twilight is not really a happy story. So I think I disagree with his look there. In fact, I find it very dystopian and sad, most of what I had read at the time. And we're going to say 7 years ago, maybe, 10 to 7, 10 years ago to 7 years ago, something like that.
Right.
But yeah, I would say I'm surprised at how depressing a lot of it is.
Yeah.
Well, I think they go into cycles, like trends, because like Hunger Games and Divergent all came out at the same time, and they were like basically the same book except a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one you had mentioned, Twilight, that was also, I think it was a little bit beforehand, but again, it was like almost the same kind of cycle. It's like teenagers having to fight for their lives, which is super happy.
East of Eden is a great book, but it's not YA.
No. I'm up to the part where
some of the
Tabby's
non-genre
coming
YA would be something like Fault in the Stars, and
Mhm.
that's not about a happy subject either. So, yeah.
Very cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, Room Note says that there's a tag video. I think he's right. Show the books on your nightstand, right? Show the books that you're just picking up from and reading as you go. I don't know if there's been a tag that's just like that.
There we go. Look at that. Cheers, Mark. Cheers.
I've got a Booktube prize book up there too. I don't even know what it's about. I haven't started it.
Something that just came in that I tend to read these off and on, but this is they just have a new editor and everything at Fantasy and Science Fiction
Nice.
magazine. Yeah,
That's a neat cover.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I told Scott as well the other day. I just bought a 44.
Is Once Upon a River, is that kind of like somewhere near that YA spectrum?
I don't know that one. Oh, Analog.
No.
Yeah,
It's not. Okay.
yeah. Yeah, that one just arrived too. Yeah.
Nice.
Not only do I have a ton of books on my nightstand, but I have like 6 pairs of glasses back there.
What were you saying there?
It's Diane Setterfield,
Oh, there she is. Okay.
not YA.
So yeah, Scott, what were you saying?
Yeah,
I heard you start.
I told Scott about this the other day, but I just bought a Edgar Rice Burroughs collection the other day. That's some. I mean, it's not high art or anything, but that is some great fiction. And I bought 44 of them the other day off of Facebook Marketplace for $40. So I'm gonna do a haul on that as soon as I get it in. And I cannot wait to get that.
Nice.
Yeah,
Covers.
44 books though. I was shocked.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's awesome.
She had just sold some first edition of Edgar Rice Burroughs cheap, and I missed out on it.
Agreed with Pax Americana there. Yeah. That's true of all fiction, isn't it? When you're reading it, you're vicariously experiencing things,
Right.
and there's victories and defeats. But sure.
Right. And
Yeah, The Outsider's dark as well. Yeah.
It's dark, but I mean, look, The Outsiders was written, and there's not a YA. It's not YA. Okay, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It is anything that has young teenagers or young kids as their people, as their main, characters. YA? No. Just because that the people that are in this, in a book or a movie or a story, are kids, that doesn't mean that book is for kids, or that book is a YA, or that book is whatever. Well, YA is a genre. It is its own genre. and it has
but it's its own, it does have some rules kind of that they all sort of follow, and part of that is, teenage main characters and then parents not around for whatever reason.
Right.
And usually a love triangle somewhere in there somewhere. I mean,
for today's YA,
yeah, most of them actually have that.
Yeah, it's kind of along the same rules as cozy mysteries. It's a strong subgenre of books with a pretty prominent formula that the authors have to follow.
You bet. I'll think it. We got another quote there from Gore Vidal, and I'll think about that one. Yeah, those books aren't fresh enough for me to say. Like, did Hunger Games have a hopeful ending? I guess.
I don't know.
Maybe the first one did. Yeah, Lord of the Flies is just plain painful. That's for sure. But yeah, I'll think about that, Gore Vidal.
As far as my experience, I mean, I think that from what I know of the Hunger Games, which I didn't watch the movies and I never read the book either, but it's kind of like Battle Royale. If you ever seen that movie,
yeah,
the
Hunger Games is actually,
but I'm sure it's a more. I'm
sure she's using a lot of Roman history and stuff in that. The bread and circuses stuff. When I looked into that, I gave a talk on that one time to a library, and it was about a 7th or 8th grade class. But the stuff that I found on it was really great. The sources that she was using that inspired her for that stuff. So it's a little more. It is what you're saying, but it's a little more than what you're saying too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not trying to downplay it by saying that, but I'm saying that Battle Royale is a movie that is, rated R, totally over the top, and not for the premise.
Was Hunger Games rated R?
I doubt it.
I didn't think it was. Yeah.
No,
okay.
I doubt it.
Are you not talking about that movie? What were you talking about?
I am.
Okay, I don't think it's rated R.
But I'm talking about Battle Royale when you say.
Talking about a movie called Battle Royale.
Oh, okay, I got you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but Hunger Games being like a Battle Royale with his claws declawed and with his teeth pulled out, and so I get that, but the premise is something that is very hardcore and this kind of stuff. And I mean, to explore something like that and not really explore it, but to give the kind of
it depends on the focus of your thing. Okay, so I'm reading Gone with the Wind right now, which might surprise people. But it is totally not what I thought it was. I had this image of what it was, and it is not that. But there's a scene in there where somebody gets shot, right? And it depends on what author you're reading on what you're going to focus on, right? So if you say exploring that, are we going to look at the gore and everything of this person that was just shot? Or are we going to look at what happens to the person that did the shooting or the family of the person that got shot? You know what I mean? It's there's different focuses in all the different fiction. Right. So I can't say that something that delves into the visceral part of it is somehow superior. It's just what the focus of the author is.
Right.
Well, and it's interesting to see how publication has evolved over time. I mean, if you think about back in the 1800s when authors like Jane Austen and men of the time, you would get like one book published in like a 5-year span because the amount of effort and work that had to go in, and you were publishing like 100 books, and that's it. And then your next publication and that. So now what we see as we explode into this time frame is that those Gone with the Winds and the East of Edens that were popular because they were, influential authors and they were getting their books out there. You don't see this now. Now we got the Booktube prize that has to actually tell you about good books because, very huge marketable genres are completely saturating the marketplace for books, and that's why you have the person off the street saying no one reads anymore. It's just that YA crap. you know, it's hard for people like us to be influential on different social networks because no one's reading the books we're reading, because they're reading all this stuff over here that's really cool and it's pushed into everyone's face constantly, and they make a movie about it immediately as it's being published. So you have those people like us that go back and go like, hey, Beowulf was really good. You know, like
Yeah.
So how about that?
You know,
so
I
it's
think
interesting,
you
like
may
the evolution of books and reading has just like, so when you talk about Gone with the Wind, like a person like me is like, tell me more, and someone else is like, isn't that like from the Civil War? Like, why are we still reading that? You know,
Sure.
it's weird, but it's fun.
And
I mean, that's what I like about it.
I think you put your finger on why I'm not connecting with a lot of the new stuff. It's because I've had a lot of failures. You know, stuff that people have said is just so good, you know, and then I pick it up and I read it and I'm like, wow, well, that's not as good as what I was reading in the 90s, or you know, the stuff that I just really loved in the 80s or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And then I tend to go back, find holes, things that I haven't read in those times, and pick those up.
Yeah, and what is called literary today from the new stuff is not what was called literary 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's completely different now. I have nothing against stream of consciousness writing. I love a lot of it, but there are so many books now that have gone to only stream of consciousness writing. There's a whole subgenre of that and everything. And that's fine, all fine and good. There has to come a point to where structure has to come in as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just so much of that today.
You know, and it's interesting you bring up that stream of consciousness. When in one of my classes, when it was a modernism course, and we were talking about Virginia Woolf and James Joyce because they were the two that like stream of consciousness was just set out.
Yeah.
A lot of people had a hard time like understanding what stream of consciousness was, because it's like, but this is exactly what we've been reading. Like, this is the same thing. And our professor had to keep like explaining it, like, no, it's not. Like, it was really hard to get through that class of that section, because it was like, but this is what everything is written like. So it's like you had to like retrain your brain to come back a few pegs and be like, okay, so this is how everything has been written before, which we have seen and have read plenty of. And this is what it kind of like shifted towards, and see the significance in like Mrs. Dalloway and Ulysses, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. But even the stream of consciousness that's being written today is not the same quality that Mrs. Dalloway and a lot of those great novels were.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And another thing I want to say about the old stuff is that it's filtered out. You know, the stuff that people don't enjoy a lot goes away. You know, stuff that was written 20 or 30 years ago would be really hard to find today unless people were reading it. And because people are reading it, you know, that's probably good. Like Gone with the Wind. I mean, I haven't seen the movie or anything, but I've known that it has existed because, you know, people have been talking about it my whole life, you know?
Yeah.
And then why should I be surprised that it's excellent? I can't even tell you. I am being blown away by it. I'm halfway through it, and it's remarkable. It's absolutely remarkable.
Well, and what's hard too is a lot of critics will now deem a lot of the books that we read as classics as being problematic.
Yeah,
and I understand that there are problematic pieces in these books, but they also have a lot of merit. The writing style, the themes. I mean, there's so much more to them than what is problematic. And I'm not trying to discount the fact that they are.
Neither would I. I wouldn't want to do that either. But if I had to describe Gone with the Wind at this exact moment halfway through it, I would say that it's a novel about being on the losing side of a war, and how everything that you believed in has been destroyed, and you've got to build up from zero, which is an incredible story.
Yeah, that's cool. Mark dropped off. Later, Mark. I want to call attention to Pax Americana's comment there. Tough Poets Press exists to fight this kind of thing that you're talking about. Show these authors that deserve to be read, that maybe you know, have just been that they're not in vogue with the current kind of PC vibe, or not just that they just are not somebody that people talk about, and that have gotten the marketing and gotten any kind of backing, but are very much worthy of experiencing what they've done.
Yeah.
One of the one that I have on the way is called Mangled Hands. My friend George Salas is his name. He wrote a book called Sea Above, Sun Below, and he runs a kind of online newspaper, on online kind of literature exploration, does author interviews, things like that. And he has been instrumental in bringing that book back to publication, because these things are out of print, but they are spectacular and definitely deserve to be read. So,
and Corona Samizdat is doing that too.
Yeah, if you're looking for that kind of stuff, Tough Poets Press and Corona Samizdat are definitely they're in that place.
Yeah.
That's why I love them.
They're great.
I have no idea.
PG, I ain't fitting to read that. I'll do a video on Ayn Rand, and then they might kick me off Booktube. Jesus Christ.
Probably rightfully so.
Taunt you just a little bit, Noah.
When I read Atlas Shrugged, I tell you, I am ready to go toe to toe with anybody who says they dig Ayn Rand.
Yeah.
I was like, seriously, and I writing, sure, it's not a literary thing. It's an ideology thing. When you're using your the literature just to push an ideology, and that ideology sucks, I'm there. Okay. I'm totally there.
This is an interesting comment by Gord Vidal.
Gord Vidal is full of interesting comments.
Heart of Darkness. So Heart of Darkness, like going in, super problematic because you're like, whoa, this is wow. But I would agree with you. The time for Virginia Woolf, I find it a little bit easier, but I've read way more of her than I have of Conrad. Is it Conrad?
Yeah, it's Conrad.
Yes.
Yeah, Joseph Conrad.
Heart of Darkness is sometimes very hard to follow because you'll be in a field and then all of a sudden you're in a boat. And you're like, wait a minute, when did this happen? So I do agree with that. He's a little bit like leery when you're reading. You're like, which direction are we going? For me, Virginia Woolf wasn't too hard, but again, I've read way more of her collections than I have of Conrad. But awesome comments, by the way.
Another, I guess, awesome comment, but one that makes me want to slam my head into the wall. Peg says, I'm in marketing, and recent data analyzing reading levels among adult consumers of information are most comfortable reading at a 3rd grade level.
Oh, gosh.
I mean,
maybe 3rd graders are reading really highly.
I love your optimism, Danny. You're saving the night. Yes.
I like to think that those statistics like exclude all of Booktube.
Yeah, Christy. That's what I'm talking about. Christy Louise says it makes her heart happy that Tough Poets Press exists. And that is the truth. Tough Poets Press is great. I might see if I can pull them onto the channel and get them on a YouTube presence a little bit, like I did with Corona Samizdat. Because I'm really just I'm really down for it. It's really cool.
Oh, yeah.
And then And then the best. What is it? Don't say Ayn Rand 3 times in the mirror.
I saw that movie.
Yeah. Who is John Galt? Some dumbass. I love it. I love it.
I really appreciate what Brian said. Said Ernest Hemingway's books have problematic stuff. Incidentally, I'm so glad to hear people actually saying that out loud.
I tell you, I would love. I want to. After this is done, and we're about to end up. I gotta call it because it's getting pretty late for me.
Yeah.
But after this is done, I'm going straight to Instagram and seeing if there's an anti-Ayn Rand meme page, and I'm following that because that'll be just beautiful daily sustenance for me. Pay, you will love Tough Poets Press if you check it out, brother. For sure. It is really, really cool. I want to thank everybody for coming by. Danny, Scott, Becky, see you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Scott Danielson, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock.
Do this one more
over
time.
on Bookish Bryant's channel, where we'll be talking about Stephen King's 11/22/63. That was an awesome read.
Yeah, it's just going to be me for that video. I'm going to lock him in.
Yeah, that's right, because Scott didn't read it.
Yeah.
Why would it ever go down like that?
Because I took on way too much this month.
I told him when we finished.
Isn't that like every month?
Welcome to Booktube. Man up.
To say something on that, it's really. Oh, go ahead.
I've got a monster next month with Noah.
Yeah. What is it? Where is it? Oh. This is the paperback. This is the easy reading copy.
Yeah, I've got the hardback.
I got the hardback too, but I found this, man, so I grabbed it because I'm like, you know what? And the easy reading copy is 827 pages.
Yeah.
A cinch.
That's the one that won't cause you to die when you drop it on your face.
That's right. That's right. This one I'll be fanning myself with as I enjoy the experience. Big book takeover, baby.
Yeah.
It's on.
I'm excited about it. Yeah.
Me too. I really am, because I want it. Don DeLillo's best novel. We're gonna do it. That's May. We're gonna have a group for that too, just so you know. It's gonna be fun.
Cool.
I want to thank Mark Richardson for coming by and spending time on the channel with me. Brian at Bookish for coming by and spending time on the channel with me. That was really fun. Yeah, and everybody in the chat, you guys rock. Brian says that Underworld is a masterpiece. Cool. I'm loving it. So yeah, I can't wait to get into it. And I think the first chapter, right off the rip, we're going to just fall right into it, Scott, because I hear that first chapter, it's like in a baseball stadium, and how DeLillo does it is just masterful. It's just like amazing stuff.
It's about one of my favorite subjects too, baseball. I love baseball.
Cool.
Very cool.
You're a St. Louis fan, right?
Yes.
I'm a Cubs fan. I apologize.
Oh, no Cubs.
Go Cubs.
Thank you so much, y'all. Thank you, everybody in the chat.
Yeah, everybody. Take care.
And catch you next Friday. And everybody else, see you when I see you.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.